Her SUV went airborne like a toy tossed by a giant, crashing down with a crunch that silenced the whole block. Neighbors screamed. Some gasped, others cheered, and I just stood there, frozen on my porch, realizing the war with my HOA had spun into something none of us could take back. That was the moment I knew this wasn't just neighborhood drama anymore. It was survival. I should probably back up. My name's Mark. I live on the edge of Maplewood, a suburban slice of America where lawns are mowed in stripes and the HOA acts like it owns the air we breathe. My property sits right on the border of their jurisdiction, which means technically their rules don't touch me. And that's important because I own a bull. Yeah, a real bull. His name's Buster. He's over a ton of muscle horns like polished sabers, but calmer than most golden retrievers. I raised him from a calf. Kids feed him apples, he licks their hands, and the loudest sound he usually makes is when he wants dinner. But logic never mattered to Karen Mitchell, the HOA president, queen of power trips, self-appointed protector of community values. The first time she stormed up my driveway phone out like she was live-streaming a hostage crisis, she screamed, "This is a threat to our neighborhood. That beast will kill someone." Buster was behind his reinforced steel fence, chewing cud like he hadn't a care in the world. I sipped my coffee and said, "Morning to you too, Karen," which of course only made her shriek louder. Within hours, she'd plastered the HOA board with blurry photos of Buster circling his horns like they were contraband. She demanded I remove him or face fines. I explained politely that her authority ended at my mailbox. My permits were solid, my fence was regulation. Buster was as legal as a barbecue grill. Karen's eyes darted between me and Buster like she couldn't decide which one of us offended her more. She muttered something about calling animal control and stomped back to her SUV, which she'd half-blocked in my driveway. That's when she made her first mistake. She revved her engine inches from the fence. Buster hates loud engines. He lowered his head, pawed the ground, and Karen leaned out the window screaming, "See! Aggressive! He's dangerous!" She honked twice, trying to bait him. Buster slammed into the fence with a bellow that rattled windows, but the steel held. Her phone tumbled out of her hand, the SUV jerked backward, and she clipped my fence post in panic. I picked up her phone, held it out calmly. "You dropped this." She snatched it back like it was poisoned, floored the gas, and fishtailed halfway down the block. That should have been the end of it. But Karen doesn't back down. By noon, she'd posted a rant online calling Buster a terrorist animal. Half the neighbors rolled their eyes, the other half started whispering. And that's when I knew this was going to be war. Soon, the HOA called a meeting. Karen brought slides like she was prosecuting a murder trial. Cropped pictures of Buster's horns articles about bullfighting deaths in Spain. Dramatic headlines about stampedes. She even had a petition. Half the signatures were duplicates or belonged to people who'd moved out. I stood up and reminded everyone, Buster's never left his enclosure. He's inspected by the county, and if anything's dangerous in this neighborhood, it's Karen's SUV. That got laughs, but it didn't stop her. Things escalated fast. One morning, I woke to hammering metal. Karen and two of her HOA lackeys were erecting a flimsy orange plastic fence on my property line, complete with a sign, "Warning, dangerous animal." I nearly spit my coffee laughing. My wife, who also happens to be a sheriff's deputy, pulled up sunglasses low. She asked, deadpan, "Karen, did you get a permit for this?" The crowd erupted in chuckles. Karen stormed off red-faced. But the HOA kept sending notices exploring legal remedies. And that's when I started to crack. One night, sitting on my porch watching Buster graze, I thought maybe they were right. Maybe it wasn't worth the stress. Maybe I should sell him, cut my losses, get my life back. I hated myself for thinking it, but the pressure was relentless. Whispers about property values, parents pulling their kids away from the fence, HOA notices piling up like debt collectors. For the first time, I doubted myself. Was I the crazy one? But then, everything changed. Around midnight, I heard a truck idling near the pasture. Peeking through the blinds, I saw Karen's SUV parked down the block and behind it a pickup with a livestock trailer. Two men hopped out with bolt cutters. My stomach dropped. They were here to steal Buster. Karen's voice carried in the night. Just get him out. The HOA will cover it. My wife grabbed her flashlight and badge, and we slipped out the back. She snapped on the beam, shouted, "Step away from the fence." The men froze, then bolted. Karen screamed, "Arrest them, not me. They're protecting the community," my wife barked back. "The only person getting arrested tonight is you if you don't shut your mouth." Karen scrambled into her SUV and tore off. That was the turning point. I realized Karen wasn't just a nuisance, she was dangerous. And if she wanted war, fine. I'd fight with facts, with the law, with every witness and camera that caught her in the act. From that night on, the neighborhood shifted. Kids stopped by with apples. Neighbors set up lawn chairs to watch Buster. Some even filmed TikToks calling him the gentle giant. Karen doubled down, of course, posting flyers, staging safety seminars with PowerPoints full of gore photos from Spain. People laughed her off. But humiliation only fueled her obsession. Then came the day that changed everything. Saturday morning traffic jam outside the clubhouse. Karen had orchestrated a full-blown rally. She strutted out in a power suit, portable speaker in hand, declaring, "Our community is under siege." She waved toward my pasture. Buster was lying under the oak tree, flicking his tail. Karen pointed, shrieked, "Look at him, plotting his next attack." I crossed the street and asked, calm as ever, "Is this a rally or a circus audition?" The crowd chuckled. But Karen wasn't done. She promised a grand demonstration. She fired up her SUV, parked it inches from the fence, and leaned out with a grin. "See, he's furious." She honked twice. The air went heavy. Buster rose, ears twitching, tail swishing like a whip. He stomped once, bellowed, and slammed into the fence. The steel groaned, rattled Karen's hood. The crowd gasped. Karen screamed in triumph. "He's attacking!" She revved harder. Big mistake. Buster backed up, muscles rippling, and charged again. The old post snapped. He shoved his horns through and hooked the bumper. With one violent heave, the SUV lifted off the ground, tilted, and crashed back down crooked. Karen shrieked, clinging to the wheel. Phones everywhere caught the moment. One kid yelled, "Best thing I've ever seen." Karen tumbled out, wailing. "He tried to murder me." Buster, satisfied, stepped back behind the fence and went back to chewing hay. My wife's cruiser rolled up, lights flashing. She surveyed the wreck, the fence, the cheering neighbors. Deadpan, she said, "Karen bulls don't get arrested, but neighbors who provoke them might." The crowd roared. Karen shrieked about conspiracies, corruption, demanded Buster's execution. But the HOA president, pale and sweating, muttered something about outside jurisdiction and slipped away. Videos of the SUV toss hit social media that night. Within 24 hours, 500,000 views. Headlines, "Neighborhood Bull versus Escalade." Guess who won? People made memes of Buster in superhero capes. T-shirts, Team Buster. For me, it was over in that instant. The HOA dropped their crusade, terrified of more embarrassment. County officials confirmed everything was legal, and Karen, she was finished. Neighbors who once wavered now laughed at her, avoided her. Kids shouted SUV toss when she walked by. She became a punchline, not a leader. And me, I sat on my porch that evening, beer in hand, watching the sunset bleed across the pasture. Buster stood tall, horns glinting gold, calm as ever. Karen had spent months trying to prove he was dangerous. But in the end, all she proved was that she couldn't stop provoking him. Lessons simple when you keep poking a bull. Don't be surprised when he shows you why you shouldn't.